I'm your host, Jordan Wendelken, and we're at the AM&AA Winter Conference in St. Petersburg, Florida, and I have got Jay Lohman, and Jay Lohman is with Lohman Company. He's the founder and president, and you are a CPA.
That's right.
And tell me a little bit about the 40-plus years you've been in business.
Okay. Yes, I'm born and raised in agriculture in the Midwest in Michigan.
Okay.
My father was 8th grade educated as well as my mother and loved farming. But then my dad's health deteriorated so much so that I had to take over the farm operation when I was 19.
Wow.
And completed a 2-year degree in accounting. Got married when we were ridiculously young. And about 4 years later, after working inside of a manufacturing company, manufacturing as cost accountant and purchasing agent for a complete division when I was really old at 21.
Okay.
I had an opportunity to join the largest non-national CPA firm in Grand Rapids, Michigan, with an associate degree. Very unusual.
How many employees at the time?
About 50 to 60.
So that was the decent
Good.
size.
Oh yeah, no, it was, and it was a high-quality firm, great firm. I was with that firm for my first 6-7 years. While I took that job, then transferred my credits to associate degree to a small Catholic college in Grand Rapids. So for the next 3 years, I worked 70 hours a week in the profession and carried 17 hours a semester to get my bachelor's. Sat for the CPA exam in Michigan, passed it all the first time. Then after about 7 years, that firm had an opportunity in a very small firm in Holland, Michigan, 35 miles west.
Okay.
One of the partners had reached out to me, didn't know them. Long story short, made a decision to join them with a verbal promise that in 2 years I'd have an opportunity to become partner.
Okay.
At the end of, but I said, that's a great, it's intriguing, but I said, I need to review your work. I did, was not good.
Okay.
I told them they would not want me because I grew up in a firm, I told you what size,
Yeah.
high quality, good people. I'm friends with some of the retired partners right now.
Okay, good deal.
So they kept talking, and eventually I decided to take that offer with a 2-year verbal promise.
Okay. Did you whip him in shape?
And that was a positive. I didn't know that at the time. The biggest decision personally was taking a big cut in pay. I'm for the big firm, going down to a firm with 2 partners and about 5 staff. Mm-hmm. And when I reviewed their work, it was substandard.
Sure.
And I told them that. Mm-hmm. They finally kept talking, finally decided to take that opportunity. Did. At the end of 1 year, they asked if I'd be willing to become partner. I said yes. At the end of 1 year, became managing partner and president on the same day. I was 29 years old. And we turned the firm upside down. And we had to.
Yep.
None of the employees survived for more than 2-3 years. Not because we terminated them. They couldn't take the culture change.
Sure. That happens.
Yep. That don't mean negative to the partners. They were good people.
Yeah.
The 2 founders were high integrity, good people, but they hadn't had the background. Both of those partners had been in industry for a lot of years. Mm-hmm. A lot of years. Then they decided it'd be good to just form a little CPA firm. So really, you looked at it, it was really a bookkeeping firm.
Got it.
Yes, we had 2 CPAs, and they were high integrity people. You see, but they're back. See, I grew up in a firm that had like national firm background, so it's not critical of them. Became managing partner after 1 year at 29 years old, and we turned it upside down. Grew it from 6 or 7 people, 1 office to 3 offices and 40 people over 10 years. Then my wife was battling a severe blood condition, which was one of the components. In 1985, we moved out to Arizona because of that. Joined a large firm that had about 70 or 80 people, shareholder, PC. Then, in about a year and a half later, the national CPA firm, McGladrey & Pullen, approached to merge that firm.
Okay.
I was very familiar with McGladrey. We had a lot of offices in the Midwest at the time. Did that. I became a senior partner at McGladrey & Pullen, had 450 partners. Good firm, good people. June 1 of 2000, I withdrew. Formed Lohman Company, PLLC. Why did I withdraw? McGladrey & Pullen was sold to H&R Block as a consolidator in 1999.
All right.
Not to become part of H&R Block. They had a subsidiary.
Okay. Still not a bad gig.
No. And so it was good. It was a fair price, or maybe medium to low, but not dramatic. And I voted for it. But in the first year, not much change. That's the honeymoon period in most merger acquisitions. We know that in M&A well. But what I saw was a lot of wasted times by a lot of senior partners. All human nature,
Okay.
good people. I'm friends with a lot of ex-partners in McGladrey. Well, I wonder who, now we're not a partnership. We're part of a Fortune 500 company. And I wonder who I should get to know. I wonder who's going to lead.
Yeah.
I wonder who I ought to get to know. I wonder who I ought to follow. I wonder where I'm going to be. I wonder. So I told my wife, I don't play that game well.
Right.
So June 1 of 2000, we drew, formed, not because of negative of the partners, just nationally.
Sure.
And a good firm. I know a lot of the partners. June 1 of 2000, formed Lohman Company, PLLC, in my spare bedroom with no employees. Today, we're grown. We're a firm. I have 5 other partners, all 20 years plus younger than me. We're up to a firm size of 53 people. We have employees working in 6 states, and we have 4 divisions. Good. Assurance, tax, client accounting, and we have project management. And I'll talk about project professionals in a minute. So those are the 4 we have. We have people working in 6 states. We've got clients all over the country. Tax department does returns for over 40 states. As founder and president, I'm blessed because I got 5 other partners that are 20 years plus younger, and all of my partners except one have national firm background or public company background. So we're different.
Yeah, that's great.
They don't make us perfect.
No,
we're different.
But that's great.
So I personally am involved with a lot of M&A. That's why I'm on the executive committee for the Arizona chapter. Have done that for my career.
Now, based on what I've heard in your story, by happen chance, it seems that you kind of got into M&A because your career path was riddled with it. Mergers, acquisitions, growth.
It's a really good point. It's a good observation. My path is not usual. Usually you'll come out with a 4-year degree, right?
Yeah.
And then you get hired, and et cetera, et cetera. So, no, it was not usual. And you're right. Who has an opportunity to become managing partner at 29?
Yeah, right.
And have to turn a firm around?
I mean, it's not that you were specializing in, and were you even looking into M&A at the time?
No.
Again, so you just took part in it.
Right.
Yeah.
So what happened is with the small firm in Holland, I helped a few clients that were thinking of selling, how to structure sale. Got into a bigger firm, national firm, got a lot involved with starting to do some formal due diligence, structuring sales, et cetera. We're not investment bankers, we're not financiers, et cetera. We work very collaboratively with all the professionals. And so when I was with the national firm, RSM, McGladrey and Pullin RSM, and now with this firm, we've done a lot, and we continue to do a lot. Some are with our clients, where in the last 2 years we've had 2 or 3 clients where we've had sales or purchases. We've been engaged to do formal due diligence by companies that are much bigger than our typical client. Our typical client, our CPA firm, from the traditional CPA firm standpoint, runs from sales of $1 million to $5 million up to $150 to $200 million.
Okay.
That's typical range. And work with most of the owners and all the entities as well. But because of the background, now there are some bigger companies around the country that know that we do that and help, and we get engaged sometimes just to do due diligence or structuring sale because their firm doesn't have that background, or they don't want to work with a national firm for whatever reason. So that's kind of where it's evolved. And so you're right, my exposure has been unusual. And so when I'm at this national conference, we're not looking for deals like the brokers, investment, legitimate. I'm really wanting to have a lot of to meet more and more people in multiple states that are active in it, because there may be times where they may have a client that needs to have a firm that's not the national firm, one of the top 4, but does a lot of acquisition work, structuring, sale. And that we have seen happen several times in the last 18 months. So,
well, AM&AA being an advisory association really, I mean, takes, in a good way, takes advantage of a gentleman like yourself.
Right.
Because of that experience.
So the 4th division we have also fits into this, which we call project professional services. I added a partner in 20 that I've known for 28 years in Arizona. He was former managing director of a national firm office called Resource Global Professionals, public company. Their model is to hire seasoned professionals that love to work on projects, 3 months, 6 months, 2 years. He joined us in the beginning of 20. He was the managing director for the Arizona office. Today, we have 24 project professionals working on special projects in companies around the country. If you go back 5 years ago, most of those engagements, when he was with a public company, were people inside the offices. In today's world, 80% are all remote, regardless of where the company is. And so we now have a senior managing director in New York, working with him on that, who worked with him at the national company. We have project professionals that live in multiple states. We have clients in many states. And we're up to about 24 full-time projects that are working on projects. They're employed by us. When the project is complete, they're hoping we have another project in their niche. Okay? So that fits right into the AMA world. So much so because there are companies, in the first year we had this, we got contacted by a small company that was public. Shouldn't be public, but they are.
Okay.
Not our client.
Okay.
And they were using a floating CFO, and he quit. And so we got 2 people in there full-time for 6 months to clean up the mess, because that person was cleaning it up quarterly, getting ready for the 10Qs, then assisting to get the records ready for an audit of a firm out of Texas. Well, you can't do that if we were the auditing firm.
Yeah.
So this fits like really well with the M&A type, because there are times we can help with a project that normally you might not be able to, or most CPA firms wouldn't be able to.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, because traditionally speaking, yeah, I mean, but very important in the M&A worlds, especially for companies positioning themselves for sale, for a potential merger, is, getting their accounting aligned appropriately, because even ones who have been appropriately following, let's say, standard procedure, it's a whole different ballgame when you're positioning your company to sell. It's not just, here's my P&L,
really
go to
good
town.
Point. It's a good point, Jordan. We just completed an engagement maybe about 9 months ago, hired by a much bigger company than our typical client, who knew that we're doing this, to assist with doing due diligence on a target that they had in the southeast part of the United States.
Okay.
And small target, doing about 20 to 30 million sales. But they thought they could add value. So we got engaged to do that. And what we learned within the first 4 weeks is that the company that engaged us, had a full experienced investment banking firm. The smaller firm in the southeast did have an investment banking firm, but it appeared they didn't have a lot of experience in it.
Okay.
And it was closely held. And we got started, got engaged. First thing we requested for was a whole list of things we request. One of the first no's we got was the owner was a female, we understood. No, she's not real. They're not going to release corporate tax returns. Pardon me?
Yeah. Minor detail.
So then I called the investment banker working with our client that engaged us. I said, listen, I've been doing this for a lot of years. I've never seen that the owner, and he says, Jay, I'm on the same page you are. I read your email. This is unbelievable. I said, well, I'm glad you agree with me, because I said, well, why would the investment banker? I could believe some firms like that do not have quality CPA firms to educate them what they need to do.
Sure.
He said, no, but I also think the investment banker is very young and he's never done this. Oh. Well, long story short, we were only to do a fraction of what we could do, or should do. So we issued a report that had a yellow flags or red flags on it to what we could see.
Okay.
And of course, the deal never happened. And so it's a great story.
Yeah.
Because exactly what you're talking about.
Right.
That when people, there's so many mid-market companies that do not know what it means to get ready for potential sale.
Well, there you have it. Take advantage of those who you know with the experience. They've put in the work. They've been doing it for a long period of time. And that's what you can expect at AM&AA, at our conferences and our local chapters. Jay Lohman, and that's Lohman Company. Find him if you are at one of our chapters or at one of our conferences, and take that wealth of knowledge that he carries with him, and maybe do some business too.
Never know. Never know when it can happen.
Thanks for joining me.
Okay, take care. Thank
All right.
you.
Thanks for joining us on M&A Access. If you enjoyed what you just watched, don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe for more content just like that.